We're
already
good.
already need a safe word because I lost you there for a second.
Shit.
So we're already going to get in the topic here a little bit. I think today's safe word should be mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. All right.
Cheese. I think
The
when I
old
think
double
comfort
words.
foods, I think of mac and cheese.
We can get down with that.
Yeah, we can get down with that.
We will be talking about some of that stuff, though.
Yeah.
We will be talking about some of that. So I guess when the safe word comes out,
Yeah.
depending on how we're talking about it, why not?
We might. Well,
So
we'll figure something.
What do you got in your cup?
I actually just got home.
What do you got in your cup for tonight?
I just got home.
So no drink.
I need to eat yet because I'm on an empty stomach. So right now it's just Pepsi. But when this is done,
I don't want to be wasted for the podcast.
No, but when this is done, I think I'm gonna make me an old fashioned. Maybe do some
Do the old fashioned.
Yeah, do some bullet. A little bit of bitters, orange peel. Nice little cozy drink after a chilly day. How about you, good sir?
Well, dude, I got some Maker's 46.
Ooh,
pretty good.
Pretty good.
If you like Maker's Mark, I mean, this is obviously one of their better ones. And yeah, so I got myself a little snifter of Maker's that I will be sipping on during this podcast. This is necessarily my comfort booze. My go-to is obviously rum, but I figure because the temperature is dropping, this is something that just makes you feel all nice and warm inside.
It's nice. Now, for anybody joining us late, we kind of had a bit of a rocky start due to technical issues on our normal recording day, and so plus the kind of day that just happened. So today's going to be a bit of a short episode. I am the Meat Viking, my wonderful co-host.
Hey, this is Professor Pork-loin, aka Dr. Chef Hubs.
That's right. So in today's episode, in case you haven't kind of picked up the hints a little bit, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite comfort foods.
That is right, man. So you know really where comfort food comes from?
No, I don't know where the word comfort food comes from.
So comfort food is actually something that provides some type of like nostalgia for you.
Okay.
Or it has some sentimental value. And so a lot of the times it's characterized by either high caloric stuff, either high carbohydrate, or just something that makes you feel good inside by the way that you prep it.
Okay.
So could be a lot of variety when it comes to what you feel is comfort food, and it could be dessert, it could be food, it could be snacks. So that's the cool thing about this one is that I feel like we could talk a little bit about a couple different comfort foods that we both enjoy.
And just by your basic definition, I already got an extra comfort food that I was going to save for a later podcast, but it's a food that brings me back and it's always a good meal. So I got two of them. I got one that the wife does and I got one that my mom does.
All right, man. Well, let's talk about Mama Duke's first.
All right.
So give me the story. What's the story that makes you feel so nice and warm and tingly inside when she makes this?
So this is something that throughout the years she perfected, I would say. So I remember it tasting better when I lived down in Texas. And I think she's tried it a couple of times back when we were in various other states. But she makes this tuna noodle casserole. And she tops it with like wheat bread that's been cut up. So it's almost like you got like a crust on top and a crust on bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think she uses egg noodles in it too. I can't remember for sure. I'll have to get the recipe from her. But it's just like this. It's like when it's tuna noodle casserole night, everybody eats. And they usually eat second or thirds. It's one of those foods.
Yeah. Okay. So is there any way that she preps it differently, or is there something that she besides the bread?
Dude, it's mama magic. I'm pretty sure they just make it with love. Like I don't know how moms do it.
Yeah, I feel like they have just whatever it is. I mean, the love just puts that extra deliciousness into whatever food that they're making.
Right, dude. It might be like some name brand paprika or something. Like, but I know I'll never find that secret ingredient because I've tried to make it before, but I'd have to text her and get the recipe again because I've lost it. But yeah, something about like, like there's a tier to it, right? Your wife cooks something that you love, that's good. When your mama cooks something that you love, that's a little better. But when your nana used to cook something that you love, like that's grade A.
I would almost go to say you can add yourself at that bottom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like no, dude. Like I'm eating for calories, and that's it. Like I'm eating so I don't die when I cook.
Yeah. But like you or your wife, when you guys make something, you're down here, and then you get to the Mama Dukes, and then you get to the old granny style.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, speaking along with moms, I have to go with my comfort one that I always loved my mom making, and it just brings back some of that good, when I was a teenager type deal, and it's called a beef roll up.
Ooh.
So this, you might want to give it a shot because it's super easy to make, man, and you can make it with a couple different things. But you basically take steakums. Have you ever had those things?
I think so.
You can find them in the grocery store, but my mom would usually go to the butcher or get something that's the real thin steak. All right, so it's the stuff that you can almost see through type deal.
Right.
You get it cut just a little bit thicker, just so that you can hold it. So essentially, you make yourself some stuffing, and it could be stovetop or it could be homemade, however you want to go about doing it. She would usually just do stovetop, but around the holidays, it would be more homemade. So you cook that up ahead of time, and then you wind up getting your steakum or your thin piece of meat, and you throw some of that stuffing in it, and then roll it up. So it almost looks like an egg roll type deal. Okay. Then you'll put that into a pan, 9x13, or if you have any other type of pans, it's fine. And then you take brown gravy, and my mom would usually make the brown, but again, you could always just buy it pre-made. Doesn't matter. Throw in some pepper, keep it however you want. And you pour that all over the entire thing, and you throw it in the oven for like 25 minutes at 350-ish, somewhere around there. And when it comes out, the steak is cooked, but then so is the obviously the stuffing stays pretty moist with it. And she would always do it with some mashed potatoes, get those homemade mashed potatoes, and then there'd probably be a vegetable at some point, which varied a lot, but most of the time it was either mixed vegetables or carrots or something along those lines. But the entire thing of the roll up or the beef roll up is what's that central focus of that dish.
That sounds good.
Yeah, man.
I can go for one of them right now.
You can probably, again, I mean, super easy. You can probably find steakums at the grocery store, or even, I know you have butchers close to you. Just try to find some of those that they cut it real thin, not too thin where there's holes in it, but maybe just a little bit thicker. So
like in between roast beef, but not Swiss cheese.
Exactly. Do you have any foods that Granny? Since we're going off that scale, man, that tier.
Yeah.
That Granny is like, man, this is what I want.
So there is a mythical cookie recipe for now, like the grandma that I'm referring to, she passed away when I was super young. And, like that's life, old age happens, part of being an adult. But one thing I remember everybody trying to find was this recipe for her orange cookies.
Okay, orange.
Yeah. And I don't know how else to describe this because I'm not even sure what kind of cookie it was because it's so sacred to me that I don't even dare try to cook this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm pretty sure it's almost like a shortbread cookie with like an almost translucent frosting that has like a citrus taste to it.
Okay.
And those things, I don't know what it is about them, but like I remember like them wanting to know where that recipe was when she passed away. So this is like the holy grail of my family.
And no one has found it, huh? Or no one
Well,
has.
I think it's been found. However, like back in the old days when they used to put cocaine in Coca-Cola, ingredients have changed.
Or if you're like my grandmother, it was always just measure it how you feel.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, oh, we're just going to use a handful of flour, and
Mhm.
you know, we're going to use just a little sprinkle of sugar, and there was no measuring cups. It was
Right.
just basically whatever you felt was good enough for it, because you learned it from people above you that did the same way.
Yep, your ancestors told you how much you need. Just have like a little spirit next to you. That's enough flour, my child.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly how my grandmother did it, and it was really interesting because the stuff that she would make, I mean, there would be times where there was no flour or like no milk or whatever the recipe called for. She'd always have some type of substitute for it. And I can remember one recipe. Now this isn't the one that I would associate my grandmother with, but there was a Boston cream pie that she would always make,
Mm.
and it didn't have I forget what, it didn't have milk in it, or it didn't have like one of the basic ingredients. And I was like, how do you do that? Oh, we used to substitute everything back then. You didn't have everything back then, so you had to find ways to make it work, and it tasted damn good. So it's always funny how the grandma status works.
Well, and I stand corrected. So I'm not entirely sure this person, according to the family tree, is either a grandma or like a great grandma. Because I'm going like way, way back. However, my grandmother, when she was alive, was famous for her cakes that she used to make. Because she could always like bust out like, "Yo, grandma, I want a motorcycle cake." Got you, like
I got you, fam.
yeah. And so like I'll have to get a hold of some of the family and figure out where those orange cookies, who to give that credit to. So I believe it was grandma, because we called her grandma because when you're young, anybody older than you is either aunt, uncle, father, mom, or grandma or grandpa, unless they have candy and they're trying to get you in their van. But so might be like a great grandma, or it was my grandma's maybe my grandpa's sister, however that works. Family
Either
trees are
way,
weird.
yeah. So to go back to mine,
Mm-hmm.
I already mentioned the Boston cream, but that wasn't really the favorite that I feel was the comfort food with my grandmother. So just like yours, I mean, she died a couple years ago, but she always would make banana cream pie,
Mm-hmm.
and that has got to been my favorite as a kid because it was super easy. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, she'd always have the crust ready. She'd always, the pudding, super easy to make. I mean, you could just grab the Jello thing, throw a little bit of some milk in it, whip that bad boy up,
Yep.
and then cut the bananas down, and then cover it with a little bit of some whipped cream. I mean, it was always pretty
Okay.
cool when my sister and I would go over and we would make those,
Mm-hmm.
and that just kind of reminds me a little bit more of my grandmother and some of the stuff. And then I also have one more that I feel is a little bit more comforting, I guess, um, and it's waffles. Dude,
Okay.
my grandmother and I and my sister too, we would as a kid, if like my parents went away or something, we'd always stay with them, or if we went over to shovel or something like that, we'd always make waffles, and my grandmother would freeze them because
Mm-hmm.
obviously she's not going to eat all of those. And I'd take some with me, and then what she would do is we'd make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches out of that.
Oh.
So it's super cool. Every time that I make waffles, I always think a little bit of it, and then I'll usually just send a text message to my sister, or I'll send some, be like, "Hey, look, I'm making some PBJ with some waffles, some leftover ones," and it's always funny to see her reaction on that one because she remembers the same thing too. So
Yeah.
that those are the two for me, at least with my grandmother. That is kind of like that comfort food. Hey, I every time I eat this, it's like I remember being a kid at my grandmother's house. So,
Yeah.
and it's kind of cool to see how like that stuff brings back some of those memories, because they've done some studies on this stuff before, man. Like they've actually done psych studies where they started thinking about how guys and how girls associate some of these foods, And they actually did one on college students where they dipped it into 4 different categories. Something nostalgic for them. There was something that they can indulge, like one of those indulgent foods, another that's convenience, and then really just physical comfort. So they had this special emphasis on stuff, and they really found out that there was some therapeutic use to certain particular foods and how it could alter your mood based off of when you're eating it.
Huh.
So it really does. I mean, the power of food, if you have that memory associated with it, it certainly is like, holy crap, man, I could totally see that. So they also found out in another different study that guys, they typically like a lot of the hearty stuff, like steaks, casseroles,
Steak and potatoes. Yep.
yeah, meat related comfort foods, where girls or ladies typically went more with the snack related stuff. So chocolate, ice cream, popcorn, stuff like that. That's going to be a little bit more easier and not so thick and hearty. So there's definitely some connections with some comfort foods and the feelings that people have. And then also they have feelings of guilt too, because a lot of times people are going to eat this and they're going to be like, oh man, I feel so fat right now. I shouldn't have been eating that.
Like when your cheat day turns into a cheat week.
Or if you're in my case, a cheat month and just, yeah, we'll get back into it one of these days.
Yeah. 3 years later.
Yeah. So, so what's the other comfort food then? Since we've already talked about obviously mom status, grandmother status, is there anything that the wife makes that you feel is comfort food for you?
Yes. This is something too that like the wife also really enjoys making.
Okay.
And it's a relatively simple dish. Essentially what we do is we get some chorizo, we get some beef or sausage depending.
Okay.
And then it's just some penne noodles, some seasonings in there, and then some not marinara sauce, not tomato sauce, fucking pasta sauce.
What, Alfredo? I mean,
No,
pasta sauce is marinara.
yeah, then it would be marinara sauce. I don't know what colors and shit, but it's like it's either like the veggie one, like the one that's super vegetables. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like a nice pasta.
That's a nice little comfort. Is there
Mhm.
anything associated with her for that, or is there something that you associate with that? Is it something that's just hearty for you and you're like, man,
For
this is
me,
something to eat on a cold night, or what?
it's hearty, but also it's kind of like one of those things where when she's cooking that, like I can smell it and I immediately get into like pajamas, and then I just wrap myself in a blanket and I just eat the shit out of that. So I would say it's a mixture of both hearty and comfort.
All right. I know for myself, when I make it, at least for me, dude, grilled cheese, man.
That's fair.
It's been a hot minute since I've made some because it doesn't really get that cold, but now it's starting to chill off in these winter months. Um, and there's so many variations that you can throw with just that. You get your normal, obviously cheese, great, but you can elevate it to have bacon. You can do avocado. You can do a whole bunch of cool stuff with just that grilled cheese variation. And then obviously you have to have tomato soup with it, man.
Oh yeah.
So you can dunk it.
See, I'm not even like a big tomato soup fan. I'm more of like a beefy and a vegetable soup fan. But if you,
Yeah, but that stuff doesn't go together, man. The
yeah,
tomato soup
I was
and
gonna
grilled
say
cheese
though, like if
done.
it's grilled cheese and tomato soup, I'll do it. But if it's like you're just gonna feed me tomato soup, I'll be like, this is food.
Yeah, it's just like Bloody Marys. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, I'll drink it, I guess, but I'm not cool with having a bunch of tomato juice and some vodka. So it just burns.
Yeah.
At least for me, I'm not a big
It
fan of
depends,
that.
man. Like regular Bloody Marys, I don't care for. Give me some spicy ones and throw in some bacon in that, and then I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's really interesting to see the differences, at least within the United States. on who really thinks comfort food is, because obviously in the South, man, you got to have yourself some chicken and dumplings, or you got to have yourself some chicken fried steak. Like that's got to be the comfort food for sure.
I actually got something pulled up right now
All right, hit me with it.
on
Let's
the other
go.
screen, and it is in no particular order, just like what are comfort foods. And I clicked on the little arrow to see what it is, and we got chicken and waffles, we got chicken fried steak, we got grilled cheese and tomato soup, matzo ball soup, which I think is like a mozzarella based soup.
No, matzah's with Jewish stuff.
Oh, would never have known that. Let's see, Chicago deep dish pizza, Coney dogs, which I wouldn't have expected as a comfort food.
I can see that if you haven't had it in a while, or if you've kind of moved out of, New York. I can see Coney dogs being something.
Fish tacos? I don't think I agree with that as a comfort food.
No, I don't see that one as a comfort food. But you know what I think is more of a comfort food, like a clam chowder.
I could agree with that.
Or even a corn chowder, something along those lines would probably be a little bit more, because it's soup and it's hearty.
Yeah, that's a thick soup, but it's like you said, it's very hearty, and it fills you up. Another one I'm seeing here, and I actually do agree with a lot, chicken pot pie.
Yeah, man, I can get down with some chicken pot pie. I can see that as being a comfort food.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's different categories when we're looking at comfort foods. Obviously, as long as it has some type of meaning to you, you can do that. But we've talked about a lot of different things already. So we've talked about kind of the lunch or the dinner style type of comfort foods, the tuna mac, or the tuna casserole, the chicken fried steak or anything like that. But then there's the dessert kind, where you can have the ice cream, or you can have the pumpkin pies, or any other type of sweets that kind of make that a little bit easier. And then I think there's sides.
Okay.
Because stuff, and in my opinion, I think there's definitely some comfort foods that kind of go together with other comfort foods.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example, man. French fries.
Oh, that's fair.
I mean, you have some French fries. It's got to be another. Here's another one, man. Grits. I mean, grits are one of those comfort foods, but goes along with other things. Biscuits and gravy. Like those two together.
So who's the sidekick in that situation?
Oh man, I would think it'd have to be the biscuit, to be honest with you.
I think so too.
Because I think the gravy is going to be the main cheese at that one, or the main squeeze.
I agree with that.
So,
trying to think of like a dessert comfort food.
Oh, ice cream. I mean, chocolate chip cookies.
That's fair. I didn't even think about that. I was thinking more like
apple pie.
Yeah, like an apple pie, but also like it's more of like oh my god, it's almost like a date night food, but like chocolate lava cake.
Yeah, I would think that more of a date night thing, and maybe that's a topic we can talk about in a future podcast here, a future episode, is looking at date night foods.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more of the thing that's associated with it. So I guess it could be, you know. But I don't know. I would think the chocolate chip cookies, my mom would always make those things. And if I really wanted to go farther in it, I didn't really eat a whole lot of them. But when I was a kid, my mom would make all those Christmas cookies around the holidays, make those candy canes and the Christmas trees. She always had that old school gun. Did your mom have one of those things? Did she make cookies? She
did, but I don't remember no old school gun.
Oh man, this has got to be from the 80s for sure.
Okay.
And it was funny because what you'd do is you'd make the batter.
Okay.
Right. And it would be this long tube. So this tube would be this way, and at the end you'd have a little
like a caulking gun.
Almost like a caulking gun, yeah. And then it had different attachments on the end, so you can do Christmas cakes, you can do snowmen and shit like that.
Okay.
So when you push the button, all you do is just push the button. It dispense just enough for you to make the cookie, and then you'd move on to the next one. You'd move on to the next one, so that you'd have a whole tray full of them. You could just throw them in the oven. But it's funny because you'd hear just and then you hear that go all the way around until there was no more batter left, and then you wind up just refilling it up again and doing that. So
Yeah.
I feel like those are the desserts that are kind of that nostalgic feeling that give you that comfort food.
Yeah. We might not have had one in the house because, like I said, my grandma, she made cakes, and so she probably like thought that was a sin to have one of those things and not do it by hand.
Probably.
So, yeah, man, like I can agree with that. Oh my God, you were mentioning cookies, and it reminded me of something. And I don't remember it being a comfort food, but I remember really liking the shit out of it. And it was, we had a neighbor that grew rhubarb, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so, like, I think probably before I was a teenager, my mom started doing like desserts with rhubarb. So, like, she would do like a rhubarb pie. But she
Okay.
found a way to do rhubarb cookies. And I'll tell you what, man, that was some shit right there.
Rhubarb cookies. I mean, I've had the pies before. So is it more of like a oatmeal style cookie and then the rhubarb's in there, or what type of base are we talking here? Is it flour? Is it like, think of like chocolate chip cookies, the way that they're brown on top, or is it kind of like a sugar cookie with rhubarb in it?
I think it was more like a sugar cookie, if memory serves me
Okay.
right. Because I don't remember them being like textury like an oatmeal cookie.
Okay.
And sorry, I remember them being very soft too. So I'm thinking it was essentially like a oh my God, like a sugar cookie base, but rhubarb added in.
Okay, I can see that.
Oh yeah, like yeah. If you just Google sour cream rhubarb cookies, this is almost exactly what they look like. I got that pulled up on the other computer, so I can't really send that to you right now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I would say share your screen, but it's on the other computer, right?
Well, let me see if I can pull it up on this one.
Oh man, we're gonna go into uncharted territory on this one.
Yeah.
The laptop might freaking die on you.
It might.
While you're doing that, then, man, I mean, it really is interesting how these comfort foods and really the reasons why we do it, why we eat these things, because a lot of the times it's because it makes us feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, eating these things that are high in fat, high in sugar, high in salt, it definitely gives you a little bit of reward from the brain, being like, num 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 num. This is good. You know, um, a lot of the times it's because we're trying to self medicate. You know, depending on the situation, we could be feeling pretty depressed, and this is going to be the only thing that's going to help me get through the rest of the day. You know, like you had a crappy work. How
Yep.
badass would it be if the wife had, tuna casserole or that pasta dish that you were talking about already ready for you when you walked in? You were like, hell yeah, this is gonna. You are self medicating yourself with food tonight.
I can see that, and especially like, oh my God, eating for a lot of people is a vice, whether they know it or not.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because we tend to associate the foods with family members, man, with people of our family or friends. So, I mean, with the new thing that's coming up, Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving's going to have a lot of traditions that people make, whether it's the stuffing, the gravy, or cranberry, whatever. I remember growing up as a kid, and we can chat about this when we do our Thanksgiving episode, but I'll briefly talk about it. The cranberry, just do it right out of the can. You
Yep.
just suck it right onto a plate. Oh, cranberry's ready.
Yep. There we go.
We're gonna have to. There we go. We're gonna have to start using this as a tool, man.
Yeah.
But all right, so that's what it looked like.
That's what I remember it looking like. And then we get back here, I also remember her trying something like this, and this looks like to me to be more of your oatmeal based cookies, but that's kind of a bad picture. Let me see if I can. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I think that's almost more of like the oatmeal based cookie. Probably got some vanilla frosting on that. So she probably experimented with both, but it's just one of those things that I kind of just I forgot about until we were talking about comfort foods, and then I remembered.
Not a bad deal, man.
Nah. Stop the screen share.
Yeah, we'll have to start doing that, because some of the feedback we've gotten is maybe making some of these on one of our podcasts here, or having something. Maybe we send a video, and we can talk about it or have it going at some point,
Yeah, I agree.
Hey man, we're still figuring this out. So if we get to 1,000 episodes and we look back at episode 1 through 10 and we go, wow, we really had a lot to learn back then.
Yeah. Like, dude, I learned how to make thumbnails like 2 days ago, and I feel like a genius,
So yeah, we'll have to we'll look back at this, and be like, damn, we did a lot of stuff already.
Right.
Because I think if we get to some guests in too, that will also kind of help out some of it. And so
yeah, our guest was originally, we were going to talk about potential spoiler here for later episodes, but some Korean food. But sadly, our guest decided that we can't make it due to scheduling conflicts, which is
we'll get there. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
But well, we got anything else talking about comfort food? Anything that just kind of brings your mind around, or what?
So I know I hit all of my checks. I got the wife, got the mom, and I got both grandmas. And for me, like, it's blatantly honest, like steak and eggs, anything just hearty. I basically eat because I need food. But I don't think we covered a comfort food that your wife does for you.
Oh, she doesn't do a whole lot of comfort food, man. I'm the one that cooks in this household. So
that's fair.
For her, if I had to say anything, I mean, queso has got to be one of her big comfort foods.
Okay.
So, and she's made it, and she's definitely made a recipe previously where, you have chorizo and you get the block of cheese and whatnot, but she hasn't made it for me. It's mainly for her.
That's fair.
So yeah, she doesn't do a whole lot of that when it comes to just comfort foods.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I definitely did the other ones though.
There we go.
For myself, for my mom, for my grandmother. So yeah, I've kind of hit all the topics, man.
Oh shit. Well, this was a good episode, man. I feel better about myself today talking about food and some comfort.
Yeah, me too, man. Like, we'll have to start looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Because Thanksgiving, man. Thanksgiving special.
I don't have time to cook anything, so sorry.
But you know what? We can talk about all of the stuff that we're going to eat coming up for the next holiday.
Right.
So I know that I definitely have some ideas. I definitely have some talking points. So we'll be able to make a pretty good one.
You know what? Maybe I'll I think my mom has the recipe. There's a side that she used to bring to Thanksgiving. Maybe I can try that secret wisdom from her. And then I got a dessert, I got a side. I know what appetite. Yeah, I'm good for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
We're good for the next episode for sure.
Oh yeah. So, well,
all right, man. Well,
ladies, gentlemen, foodies of all shapes and sizes, it's been a pleasure talking about comfort with you. Let us know some of your comfort foods down in the comments. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We're on Twitter. Also, I don't think I mentioned this on last episode, but we are finally on iHeartRadio as well.
Are we really? Podcast. All right.
Yep. Yep. I got the notification, so we really out here.
Yeah, man. I hope people are gonna start listening to that.
I'm hoping so too. Let us know where you get most of your media from. Those of you
Yeah.
who follow us on various, whether it be Spreaker, Google Play, Apple Play, Spotify, or iHeartRadio now, or YouTube. Just let us know where you follow us from.
Or if you have some ideas for future, podcasts we want to do or topics that we should talk about, go ahead and throw those in the comments as well, because we would love to hear what you want to learn about or what you want to hear us kind of chat about.
Exactly.
So got to make sure we keep that BDSM podcast going, man, and
That's
not the kinky side, the food side. Good.
so. I've been the Meat Viking.
Hey, this is Dr. Chef Hubs. We're signing out for today.